It's Sunday night, 9 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, and with me, as always, I have Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw. How you doing, Shawn?
Doing pretty good, thanks, Gary.
Excellent. And I have Muffler Mike Kostiuk over in Connecticut. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. It's great to have my dulcet tones back. First week, I think that I can actually say that I'm not sitting there wondering what's going to come out. So we have a big show for you. We have a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of NLL things going on. Before we get rolling, though, just to remind everybody about the network stuff. Remember that every show is streamed across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch. And you catch all the action on EOPsports.com. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons, and always share. As you can see, many shows for many different types of people. Please take a look at our list here and see what works for you. If you missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the podcasts on all the major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, and so much more. You can also catch all the shows on the EOP YouTube page at EOP Sports, as well as if you're looking for our show in particular, you can catch it on our YouTube page as well as our whole library at All Lacrosse all the time. Also, there is another 6 games went up this week, retro games. So you're going to want to have a look at that, as well as some interviews and some other things. So a lot of things are going through that YouTube page. So while you're there, please give it a subscribe for us. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting EOPsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. While you're there, please subscribe to our newsletter. And just before we get rolling, just a reminder to everybody, this part of our show is brought to you by Dolan's.
All right, guys, when you're staying local and you want to watch a great game or just hang out with some great people, make sure to go to Dolan's Bar at 24 East Sellers Avenue at Ridley Park. Right off of I-95, south of Philadelphia Airport, Dolan's Bar is the place to be. Great music, great times, memorabilia giveaways, great drinks, and even better food. You never know when a former Philly sports icon walks through the door. You've got to go to Dolan's, 24 East Sellers Ave at Ridley Park. Tell PJ that EOP sent you. Go to dolansbar.com or follow them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or even TikTok. We'll see you there for the game.
I get just a little hungrier every time I see that cheesesteak go float down. Boy, oh boy, you don't want to miss that place. That place is awesome. And, good prices, great food, and great people. So go see PJ over there at Dolan's. Eduardo is now back from his Miami trip and going to be writing for us. Our West Coast correspondent. Pretty awesome, guys. All right, a little bit of news before we get rolling into NLL stuff. The Oakville Buzz have hired their new head coach. It is Troy Cordingley. So the junior A team in Oakville has now got Cordingley as the head coach. That should be interesting. That'll knock it up a notch, I'm sure. World Lacrosse also made an announcement this week, and it is Japan that is going to host the 2027 World Field Championships for men and women. Congratulations, Japan. What a program, man. Over the last number of years, they were the team that I watched as much as I could when I was out in San Diego in the summer because they were blistering. And they're one of the few teams that didn't take people from all over the place who had a grandma who could spell Japan. They were all homegrown kids who have come up through the program. And wow, have they ever taken to it. So if anybody thinks that this is not world followed and world presented, you're incorrect. It is growing all over the world. The Robeski tournament will be a great thing to take a look at how much it's improved. Looking at European box is incredible. Looking at now we're going to have a women's exhibition in there as well, which should knock it up a few notches as well, which is what they need. And hopefully World Lacrosse takes note and can put a little more than 10 teams in there because there's more than 10 teams worthy of being on the world stage. Shawn, you had some news out of Saskatchewan.
Yeah, a little NLL news. I guess that loss to Vancouver was a bit of the final straw in Saskatchewan. They made a coaching change. Offensive coordinator Bruce Alexander was shown the pink slip. He was fired. And Derek Keenan is coming back behind the bench. He's going to be co-head coach with Jimmy Quinlan. Interesting move. When Jimmy was first hired as head coach, it was actually a co-coaching job with Derek, and at that point they went 4-0. So it could be interesting to see what happens with the two of them kind of splitting the bench a bit.
Absolutely. I'm sure they'll be moving up in the rankings rapidly. Yeah. All right, guys. The Arena Lacrosse League. Let's start with the women's first. The East is off this week, and they have their next set of games next Saturday over at the Iroquois Lacrosse Arena. The games yesterday over in Langley, you had the Deer beating the Bats 5-4, the Turtles beating the Bears 9-7, excuse me, and the Flying Squirrels beating the Hawks 11-3. If we take a look at the ALL East, we had some interesting games this week. We started Friday night. Whitby in Brampton. Whitby beat the Brampton Express 16-13. They've had a hard time, Brampton. They're falling on some hard times. I think that's their fourth or fifth loss in a row after a really great start. The Express kept it close for the majority of the first quarter. However, a barrage of 4 goals with 2 minutes left had the Steelhawks up 6-2 after 1. This would be the difference in the game. Brampton played the rest of the way, matching goal for goal. Special teams once again played a huge role for Whitby, with them scoring 4 power play goals and 2 shorthanded markers. The Express also got 3 power play goals in this penalty-filled game. Whitby was able to come away with the 16-13 win. Saturday evening over at the Toronto Rock Athletic Center, the Six Nations Snipers visited the Toronto Monarchs. And the Monarchs had fallen on a little bit of hard time and just recently had started turning the ship upright. And in this game, the Monarchs came away with a 15-12 win. And while Six Nations got out to a quick 2-0 lead, special teams from Toronto got them back in the game. Shorthanded goal followed by 2 power play goals had them in front, and they wouldn't trail again the rest of the day. Snipers fought hard all day, only trailing by 1 heading into the fourth quarter, but Toronto put together a 4-goal run in the fourth that the Snipers just couldn't dig out of. Final score 15-12. Today, in the early game, the Paris River Wolves and the Oshawa Outlaws met, and it was close for a few minutes. Paris went away with a 22-10 victory. The Outlaws actually was the hottest team in the league over the last number of weeks, and the first quarter they looked to continue. They were up 3-0 and looking good, but fate would change very quickly. River Wolves rhymed off 22 goals against 6 from Oshawa in the next 2.5 quarters. While there was little scoring in the fourth, the damage had already been done. Special teams for Paris were excellent in this game, scoring 5 power play goals as well as 3 shorthanded goals. The Outlaws converted on 3 power plays themselves, 22-10. Like watching the NFL, isn't it?
Jeez.
Defense. The late game today was the Peterborough Timbermen against the Oswego Bears. This was a barn burner game. It lived up to all expectations. Peterborough came away with a 16-14 win, but it was tied at the half 7-7. Third quarter saw the Timbermen pull away with 5 late goals. The Bears made a push late in the fourth to pull within 1, but they just weren't able to go. And one more goal from Aaron Bradshaw and a stingy Peterborough defense held on for the 16-14 win. If we're looking at this week's power rankings, Whitby sits in first at 6-1. Paris is sitting in second at 5-1. Peterborough vaults into third at 5-2. Toronto is in third at 3-4. Oshawa with a 4-3 record is sitting in fifth. Oswego with a 2-4 record is in sixth. Brampton at 1-5 is in seventh. And Six Nations sitting at 0-6 is in eighth. If we look at the couple of games in the ALL West, the Sea Spray beat the Grizzlies 16-15, and the Blackfish beat the Eagles 11-8. So in our standings, The top 4 for the ALL East: Whitby, Paris, Peterborough, Oshawa. Bottom 4: Toronto, Oswego, Brampton, Six Nations. If we're looking for the ALL West, the Shooting Eagles are sitting at 7-3. The Sea Spray are sitting at 6-4. Blackfish at 5-5. And the Grizzly are coming up the rear at 2-8. Lost 7 in a row. That's rough.
Thanks.
Oof.
Anyways, next week's games, we got some pretty cool ones coming up. Tuesday, the Blackfish play the Grizzlies, and Wednesday the Eagles play the Sea Spray for some odd during the week games. If we're looking at the East, the Monarchs are visiting Brampton on Friday. The Snipers are over to the Children's Arena in Oshawa to face the Steelhawks at 1 o'clock on Saturday. The 5 o'clock game at the Children's Arena on Saturday will be the Oswego Bears against the Oshawa Outlaws. That will be a barn burner of a game, I'm telling you. And on Sunday, the Peterborough Timbermen are going to face the Paris River Wolves at 2 o'clock at the ILA. Another barn burner of a game. So if you're in the area, you're going to want to catch some of these games. All right, guys. We have a number of things to cover with the NLL. First of all, last week's Player of the Week, Adam Charlin Beatties, 4 goals, 3 assists in that game over Saskatchewan, I believe.
Yep.
And the Rookie of the Week was Callum Jones of New York with a goal and 12 loose balls in New York's win. Some milestones to cover. Matt Beers played in his 200th game yesterday. A big one is Ryan Benesh. 528 career goals. He is now 5th all-time, surpassing Colin Doyle for that mark. It's some heavy company he's in. Randy Stotts hit the 200-goal mark. This is another really cool one. Joe Resiteris, first American-born player to reach 400 assists. We've listened to how much trouble Warren Hill has had this year. Well, he just wound up with his 2,000th career save. So, not doing too shabbily. Connor Kiernan, 200 career points. And a big one here, guys. We'll talk about this game when we get to it, but combined 29 points between Will Malcolm and Callum Crawford yesterday in the shellacking of Las Vegas. Callum Crawford almost made history. He got 15 points in the game. 2 guys ahead of him still. Mark Stanos has the record at 17, and Garrett Billings is sitting in second with 16 points. Ironically, Garrett got that against Buffalo. And ironically, Mark got that against Toronto. Says something in it.
Yep.
Which will lead us into our Toronto Buffalo game later. Exactly. Thrashing is correct.
Oh, yeah.
It was a
It was ugly.
it was almost as ugly as our first game of the evening, or Friday night's game. And that was Colorado beating on Vancouver 14-8. McLaughlin's 10-point night, Moore's 38 saves, lead to a big Mammoth Road victory. Anybody want to grab this game? I know. Sit there going, I don't know if I really want to talk about this much.
Yeah,
There's not a whole lot to talk about, really.
I mean, just Colorado starting to look more and more like their old selves again, aren't they?
Yeah, and Vancouver, they're not doing much of anything. First quarter was all Eli McLaughlin. He had 3 goals, one of them on the power play. Adam Charlin and Beatties finally got Vancouver on the board with a minute to go in the quarter. Second quarter was a whole lot like the first quarter. 4 unanswered goals by Colorado. Robinson, Kriwokin with his first goal, Connor Kelly, and Tyson Gibson on the power play. And this was only halfway through the second, and it was already 7-1 for Vancouver, or for Colorado. And for all intents and purposes, this game is over. Keegan Ball, he got a goal with 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes left in the quarter. But Zed Williams and Tyson Gibson answered back, and it was 9-2. Ball scored again and made it 9-3 at the half. Eli McLaughlin with another one to open up the third quarter, and it was 10-3. Ryan Martell and Kirkness got a pair of goals for Vancouver to bring it to 10-5. But again, Eli McLaughlin and Warren Jeffrey had a pair of goals, and it was 12-5. Riley Lowen with a goal for Vancouver, making it 12-6. But Chris Wardle answered back for Colorado. And as Kurt Malosky said in his press conference, and I have the press conference for you, if you're going goal for goal when you're this far behind, that's suicide. You need to get on a run. Keegan Ball got a power play goal, but Zed Williams again. It was 14-7. Kevin Crowley scored with a couple of minutes left in the game, and mercifully it was over. And 14-8 was your final. Again, Dylan Ward is starting to look more like Dylan Ward. 38 saves on the evening. Aaron Bold didn't make it to the end. He was pulled about 28 minutes into the game. He was pulled earlier than that for just for a breather, but this was a finer pull, and Hayden Walsh came in, and he didn't fare much better. So goaltending in Vancouver, amongst other things, is a big question mark. If you're Malosky, guys, where do you begin? Mike?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Any idea where to start in this?
I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, just, you're already a third of the way into the season, and you've been trying to pound your philosophy, and this idea that the losing culture is going to change into a winning culture, for a third of the season, and that's what's that led you to? You've lost both games to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, was just awful. When you look at it, in terms of the big picture. I mean, they had a 6-goal lead at halftime and managed not to score at all in the second half and allow Colorado to claw back in and force overtime. And then
defense needs a revamp in a transition game. It's a good start.
It is, but
yeah, I mean, they too. Like,
yeah, I mean, they already did that.
Yeah.
I mean, they brought in, guys like Lintz and Beers, and who were already familiar with the franchise, had previous stints in the franchise. I don't know.
See, I would disagree. I think Keegan really showed up that night, I heard it. And I mean,
yeah, he was the only one who was actually doing stuff in the press conference. Malosky refers to one specific shift of what he did, but let's look at the highlights of the game, or the lowlights, depending how you want to look at it, depending who you were cheering for, and then we'll get into Malosky's press conference.
He's smart about when those opportunities are most effective. McLaughlin from the outside. There's the first of the night, and it comes off the stick of Liger. For one so far. Loose ball, McLaughlin. Breakaway from center. Eli for the hat trick. Scores! Bar Mexico for Liger. It's 3-0. Garrison in there battling. And check that. That's Krawokin who found that loose ball. Sean Krawokin right down the pipe. Scores! Back there by Dose. Flips it to Eli. One more. Tyson Gibson. Inside flip, scores. What a pass to Connor Kelly. A lot of days. Those were a lot of days. McLaughlin backhand slip. Robinson. One more. Gibson scores. Touch. Passing. Missed. 5 on the shot clock. Keegan Ball. Scores! 2 goals late in the 30 for Vancouver. Same. Here's Gibson. Colorado 2 for 2 in the man advantage. Williams all alone. Time and room. Scores. He got it past Bold. Carries. Gives it down. Gibson. One more. Back to Gibson. Picks the far corner. For Vancouver. 4-on-3. Ball. Inside feed. One timer. Saved by Ward. Manages to make the save. McLaughlin shoots and he scores! Everything falling for Eli. That's 4 on the night. Vancouver could have numbers here. Picked up by Bowering. Kirkness, one-on-one with Ward. Kirkness scores! This is a player who almost left Lacrosse altogether. Inside Liger again! They want an in-house replay. They haven't got one yet. All alone. Wardle! Simply easy for Chris Wardle. All alone on the backside. Beatties, ball, Crowley will play the crease. Oh, Keegan's ball, short side, cheese. With 10 on the shot clock. Williams has it. Watched by Dilks. Step back through a screen and he scored!
That was painful, wasn't it?
Oh, extremely.
Let's hear from Kurt.
We were 1 for 4 and they were 3 for 5, so they won the special teams battle. And I think someone in, I don't know if it was here, but wrote an article about us having to win the special teams battle, and we never did.
Yeah, so just taking a look at your team's overall performance as well tonight, what are some things you liked from the guys?
It wasn't much. Pretty lackluster. You know, we've lost 5 games this year, and I thought that was one of our worst performances. You know, I didn't like our Calgary game, but I just thought that one was awful. I didn't like it. It just like it. There wasn't a ton of compete. The guys battled at times, but it was just lackluster. I think is like we would make a good play, and no one would get on the boards and bang their sticks, and no one would really cheer for the guy next to them. And I just question it. Like it's just like, does it not matter to you? Is it not important to you? Like how you're getting embarrassed in front of. You know, we've had the 2 biggest crowds in the franchise history the last 2 games. I'm freaking embarrassed, man. I'm freaking embarrassed. Like, that's how I feel. I feel we let the fans down. We're letting the organization down. It stinks. It absolutely stinks. That's how I feel.
And just taking a look, as you mentioned, after you guys would make a good play, perhaps there would be a goal right back. A couple plays later, Colorado would get one back as well.
Oh, you can't play ping pong when you're down. When you're already down 7-1, you'll never win. That's just simple math. You can't get down 7-1. You can't trade goals. The shifts after goals are massive. They're massive. You have to, if you want to make a run, you got to make stops. And you know, there's times we made stops. There's times there wasn't. I thought offensively to start the game, we didn't go to the middle of the floor. We just chose not to go. I'm not going to the middle of the floor because I'm going to get hit. I'm going to get hit. So I'm going to stand on the outside and I'm going to twirl the ball around and I'm going to throw it wide or I'm going to throw it in Dylan's stick. That's what I'm going to do, because if I go inside, it's going to hurt. So you make a decision if you want to go inside or not. And I'm challenged those guys. They didn't go to the middle of the floor. Outside of the end, the best shift of the whole game was Keegan Ball. And it made me proud. I had goosebumps. I wanted to cry. I want to hug the kid when he came off the floor because he played like a man. The guy just watch that shift, and that's how you're supposed to play lacrosse. And the rest of the night, man, it stunk.
Ball's always consistent.
What?
Ball's always consistent.
Yeah, sometimes. He's not always consistent. I love you, Stevie, but he's not always consistent. He's okay. And you know what? He needs to be consistent from the start of the game to the end of the game, but he always tries. Let's revamp that. He tries every game as hard as he can. He needs to be more consistent, no question about that. If you can bottle that, you'd be the best pro in sports.
You look for him as one of the leaders?
Oh, he is, yeah. He's our assistant captain. He was our top player last year. You know, he had a great game in Saskatchewan, and he's learning a new system. He's learning a new coach. You know, and now he's the focal point in a lot of the offense. Everyone's going to lock him off. You're a 4-14 team. That people don't really care who's on that team. They know they're going to walk in, they're going to walk over you. And I'm not saying that's what we're doing right now, but you know, we're prepared. You know, I'm preparing to be a better team, and you know, they're going to go try to shut down our better guys, and he's our best guy, so he's getting the best checks.
Second half a little bit smoother offensively, looked like a little bit tougher defensively. Did you like anything from that second half?
Well, we won the fourth quarter, but maybe that's a little bit of them just mailing it in because they were up by a bunch of goals. But offensively, we got them that. We got some shots. We actually scored some. You know, the guys never quit. Like, they don't quit, you know, and it's the challenge is when you're down by that many goals, if you give up, they're not giving up on each other. I can see that, but they have to learn that to when someone makes a good play, that you have to be on the boards. You have to celebrate. That's how all these little plays add up to big plays. You can't just wait for someone to score. You can't just wait for something to happen at the other end. You have to understand, like, I talk about buy-in all the time. Like, it's non-negotiable. You just don't buy in half the time. One day I believe, or one day I don't believe, or one day I'm going to buy in. Another BS, man. Like, BS. Either you care and you're all in, or you're not. And that's how we play lacrosse. We play some shifts. I'll go to the middle of the floor. Other shifts, I won't go to the middle of the floor. Some shifts, I'll go two-hand tough on a loose ball. Other shifts, I'll just go like this and play spaghetti arm offense, and I'll let the other guy run by it. You will not win lacrosse games like that. And I trust the guys in that room. We've assembled a really, really nice group of veteran guys, and we have to figure it out, man. We're going to keep working. I'll keep pounding the video. Our coaches will keep working hard. I only know one way. We only know one way, is to just to continue to grind and continue to battle. But we can't make the same mistakes over and over again. And we're 7 games in now, and we're still making the same mistakes. And we talked about inventory. We talked about finding 96 on the bench. You go look where he is in the second and fourth quarter. Go get him, and we don't go get him, and he scores a goal. That can't happen. Teams are too good, and we're beating ourselves a lot of the time.
You talked about Keegan's shift. Can you say what exactly it was that you liked about that shift?
He went to the middle of the floor. You know, you got Jeffries, you got Hopi, Bobby Hope, and then you got Paulie Dawson. They're trying to hurt you. They're not trying to dislodge the ball, just so we're clear. They're trying to hurt you. And that's how they keep you away from the middle of the floor. He went right down Main Street. He had 2 guys on him. They're trying to cross-check him in the teeth, and he's going right to the middle of the floor. He sees the slide, he rounds the corner, and he made a decision to go through, and he didn't care. Didn't play cautious. And that's how he needs to play. And that's what I like about that shift. But it can't be from one of our oldest guys on the team. The young guys have to set the tone. The young guys have to get to the middle of the floor. Horse calling a guy and throwing him down at the end of the game, that's chicken crap, man. That's garbage to me. That's quitting. Can't have it.
You didn't love the compete from your team tonight. Do you think you could have had some of those goals back?
Yeah, but I'm not hanging it on the goalie. But I will say, I'm not sure if you win any lacrosse games at 60% save percentage, 64 on average. So I'm not too sure if you can win a lot of lacrosse games. So that's where you're going with it. Our goalies need to be better. There's no question. No question. Good goalies are in the 80%. You got a middle of the road, you're going to play anywhere from 77 to 80, you got a 50-50 chance to win that game. Anything below 75%, you're going to have a tough night. You go into the 60s, you might as well put your house coat slippers on, sit in the crowd. It's over. It's over. So as a group, not finger pointing one bit. I've never finger pointed in my whole life, and I'll never finger point. The goaltenders need to be better. The defense need to be better. The offenses need to be better. And let's be clear here. I'm standing up in the middle of it. I'm on the top of it. I have to be better, and I will be better. I'm not finger pointing, but we're all in together. And it shows a character of a team and a character of a man. When it's crappy and it stinks, how are you going to react? Are you going to finger point? Are you going to blame someone else? Or are you going to own it? I'm owning it, and I'm sure every single guy in that room is going to own it.
Lastly, what did you think of Kirk in his first goal?
It's great. Kirky's been working hard. You know, he started on the practice roster. He got hurt in training camp. He didn't say anything. Just battled. And there was an opportunity for him to get in the lineup. When the guys didn't have a great night, he got in and he never looked back. He's athletic. He cares. We talk about good people make good teams. We go on the road to Rochester. He's picking up all the bags for all our trainers. That doesn't go unnoticed with us. He's just a good overall person. He's a great athlete, and it's so good to see him get rewarded. So that is one of the bright spots tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That about says it all, doesn't it? There's nothing left unturned. From the head coach all the way on down. Everybody has to be better, and he's hit the nail on the head. And I like the way he goes about it. No finger pointing, but really, he has the stats, he has the numbers, and everything else works around it. And the camaraderie. You know, banging your stick on the board. Seems like such a small thing, but it's not.
I kind of want to make a point to that. Sorry, Gary. Because we talked about what needs to change. If guys aren't playing for each other, is that a leadership thing? Does someone need to stand up in that dressing room and, other than a coach, and say, "Hey guys, let's screw our heads back on. Let's figure this out."
Losing
I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
like players only meeting or something like that. You know,
that's about right. Because I say losing does weird things to people, even guys who are close. After a couple of losses and bad ones, guys are starting to protect their own little things like their jobs. And friends aren't friends anymore. It's his fault. Their fault. Why didn't you do this? And the little things all become magnified. So unless somebody takes a bull by the horns that's not named Malowski, then there's going to be all kinds of internal problems in there. But I have a feeling there's enough veterans in there that can right this ship. But it's going to take someone. And it's another problem which other sports don't have, is because these guys are all flying in from all over the place and only see each other the day before the game or the day of the game. They don't have these meetings in the middle of the week, or some of the other teams like here in Toronto where they can have practices during the week, that they can have these meetings. Vancouver might have more of an opportunity.
Yeah. I was going to say I don't entirely agree with that, because I was going to say, they're in a unique situation that could be kind of a bad situation for them, in that we've been talking the last couple of years about them working to try to attract, hometown guys to come back to Vancouver, and they've succeeded with that, getting guys like Kevin Crowley to sign, Aaron
Beers.
Gold, come back out. Yeah.
Gold.
Beers,
Well, now getting McCully also, who lives there.
Yep. Lintz, Dilks, quite a number of guys,
But these are top caliber NLL guys. So surely somebody, if not a bunch of these guys,
Somebody. Even if they're all living in Vancouver, I mean, it's easy enough for that leadership group to get together.
We're in enough technology that we can do what we're doing.
Just say, hey guys, what do we need to do in the locker room to get these younger guys going?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
even a Zoom meeting.
For me, there's that. So I don't buy that they can't try to do something with a good chunk of the personnel on the roster midweek. But
right.
The other problem the organization's going to have is, if this doesn't get any better and they want to be sellers at the trade deadline, how are they going to be sellers when the pieces they're trying to get rid of are the pieces they've worked so hard the last few years trying to get them to come back home?
Mm-hmm. True.
Now what do you do?
Yeah.
Good point. It's a conundrum. That's why he's being paid and we're watching.
Right.
But
yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know their next. I don't know if you guys know their next few games offhand, but I got to think if they're not.
We have Georgia next Friday.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you see something like Saskatchewan where not Malowski, but maybe one of his coordinators is showing the door just as kind of a, hey guys are losing their jobs now. Time to wake up.
And then Saskatchewan a week after that. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, do you give them more than 2 games at this point and say, okay, if you're 4-5, it's a totally different look on how you're going to handle the rest of the season versus if you're 2-7.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're halfway through the season at that point.
All right. Let's move on. We have our next gentleman with us. We're into the Wings Nest. We're going to bring Pat on in. Pat, how you doing?
Not good. You know what?
That's why you're picking, man. Yeah, you're with me.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good. No.
Look at that. What are you guys talking about?
Oh, jeez.
I'm heading to the basement. I'm already heading. I wait. How do I manage to do the best this weekend?
With me, for Christ's sake, leave me alone.
Yes, I am. We're both heading to the cellar. Yes.
Mike's going to be passing us next week.
Yeah. Listen, guys, it's not pretty. This Wings team has yet to get a win at home. They fell in a hole fast to this Seals team. I knew this was going to be a tall order. It was nice to see a welcome back Trevor Batiste. However, again, you fell into a hole, and I was pretty livid with the goalie style of play. I didn't think he played that well. And I had the press conference afterwards. Paul Day thought he did an okay job after the first half, but I'm like, yeah, in the second half, in the fourth quarter, he gave up 4 goals too. So to me, I don't think he had his best game. I think he was a little slow on trying to make some stops. and then on the offense, there was some fundamentals stuff that hadn't been working. I get it. They missed 3 weeks of play. Paul Day said it in the press conference. He wants to play more. He's tired of 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. He's getting tired. He wants to play consistent lacrosse ball. Well, he better be careful what he asks for, because you're asking, for Halifax that's going to be coming in here. And the last time I checked, you beat them by a nose hair. Because that Halifax team is really, really physical, and they were toying with the Wings. And somehow Wings pulled the win out. But going back to this game, the Wings, though, to me are just I don't say you want to push the fire alarm, but there's some major concerns. And to me, I don't know if Higgins. I know you guys are going to defend him. I love him, but I don't know if in this league, or for the Wings, I'd rather. I don't know if he, I don't know if he has what it takes. I mean, I'm hoping that he can turn around. Yeah, he did. He did face 61.
Yeah, that's it.
49 saves. I'd say that's pretty good. I didn't like his first quarter. He gave up 5, but after that, you're looking at he gave up 7 the rest of the way to a potent team like San Diego.
It is a lot. I mean, I hate to kind of put it in this perspective, but I mean, that's a shot a minute.
Yeah,
a 60-minute game when you're generally only holding the ball for half the. You're generally holding the ball for anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes of the game. To have that many shots, it is a lot. So 12 on 61. I mean, it's decent. It does come in the game, but I guess the other
12.
Well, I was going to say, to me, this reeks of what's the defense doing? Why is it allowing 61 shots?
Yeah, that's
Higgins seeing so much rubber.
Yeah. And Shawn, that's another major problem. The defense in front of them. I mean, it's not well. And I don't know if that falls on Paul Day. I don't know if that falls on the defensive coordinator. I don't know who that falls on, but this is the continuous slop that this team goes through. I mean, know your reads, stick your man, stick to the man-to-man, stick to the zone defenses. Like, I don't know what this team's doing out there sometimes on the defense side. Now, the one thing I am impressed with, because they were very creative on the offensive zone, they had good ball movement. Mitch Jones, he was just being a facilitator out there, making some nice. He made this one pass without even looking. Like, he just kind of dumped it off to Joe Russ Terrence. And Joe Russ Terrence, he had a nice little mid-range game. He beat the one-on-one defender who was in front of him. He was handling his business out there. So I like what he brought to the table as well. And a couple other guys kind of.
Against these upper teams, I don't see them winning if they can only score 11 goals. They have too much firepower to only get 11 goals. They should be putting up 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Yes, and believe it or not, me and another beat reporter were talking about that. Like Ben McIntosh, right? He had a nice little solid game. He had a hat trick and 5 assists. But he should be the offensive coordinator. I believe, worked with him in college. So I think the two should be. You should know the ins and outs how to use Ben McIntosh to his full strengths. And yet, like you said, these guys were barely getting, any touch. Like I said, him and Sam LeClaire did have a nice game yesterday, but that's not consistent, and it's not good enough. And you need to be consistent in this league. I mean, now we're creeping at the halfway point, and we've yet to get a win at home. You've lost 2 straight. Things need to start turning around, or you're going to be outside looking in at the playoffs. And this kind of year tells me, who are you? What are you? And right now, I don't feel confident in this Wings team.
Yeah, so, I'll just bring up 2 points. The goalie change, I can see why you maybe thought it was necessary. I guess the only thing I would caution is you just heard us talk about Vancouver. And, obviously Aaron Bolt's backup, Aiden Walsh, he got kind of thrown into the fire last year a bit and maybe got a little bit shell-shocked and maybe was kind of in that, not quite ready, but, we don't have much else. So, we're going to him. It certainly could have been Paul Day thinking, hey, look, I can't throw Deacon Knott in there right now against this high-powered Seals offense and have him just get blown away. As much as it'd be nice to get him some reps, get him some experience, at the pro level. Most of the guys, when they're rookies, the biggest thing they say, hey, the speed of the game, I got to adjust to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's faster than I thought it would be. And, I've got to be lightning quick. Is he ready at this point? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, he did win a Minnow Cup. So,
I get where you're from, Mike. Like, if you have nothing in front of him, you're not setting up for success, right? No matter how good you are.
I would be curious to see where Philadelphia ranks, in the league in terms of block shots. It's I don't expect it's going to be a number like a Buffalo or a Colorado, but
well, I mean, again, what I was seeing too, they were playing physical defense. They were playing real physical defense, and that came back to bite them in the sense of I saw a lot. I think they spent they went to the box 7 times. 7 times they went to the penalty box. So out of the 7 times, the Seals scored 4 goals for 4 power play goals. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, now with that,
that would concern me because they're like a top 5 penalty kill unit, and they're allowing the Seals to go 4 for 6 on the power.
You're mentioning defensive stats, Mike. The Wings had 1 caused turnover.
Ooh.
1.
Yeah. That's not going to get you very far.
No,
I saw trouble in Paradise.
Especially when you're losing, face-offs at a 2-1, 3-1 clip for the game. So,
granted, they made it a game, but still, it's just nasty.
They did have about 45 seconds or so, with the chance to tie it up. They would have had at least one more possession.
Questionable call, by the way. Questionable call. And I was like, no, that should have been a goal for the Seals. I said, and everyone's looking at me like, are you a Seals fan? Like, what's going on? I said, no. I said he was nowhere near the crease. Everyone's like, yeah. So I said, I don't know. My eyeballs told me something different. I guess.
Guys, you need to stop and soak this in because Pat being unbiased here, this is like a watershed moment here. Come on, being rational and unbiased. No, but seriously, the last thing I would add is, yes, they're 2-4. They could have been 3-3. Right now they're in 13th place, but if they'd won that game, they'd be anywhere between 6th and 9th. So that's, 3 out of 4 of those spots are playoff spots. So, they have stuff to clean up, but they're not, it's not as bad when you look at it from the big picture. I think with respect to the playoffs, we're only about a third of we're approaching the halfway point in terms of weeks to the regular season, but most of
9 games played, most teams
most of these, only Georgia. I think only Georgia has played 8 games so far. So, but they've just been, flat out pretty much every week. So they're going to be headed to some buys and.
Let's have a look at what Pat's been talking about, and we'll just take a look at some of the clips.
Yeah.
5-year deal to man the crease for the Seals. Here's a quick stick shot in the goal. Wings are on the board as Sam LeClaire snaps it home. Hard work and moving things around fast usually lead to those sorts of things.
Yes, you got to play smart. And look at that shorthanded goal right there, Kyle Jackson.
That's a bad break for the Wings as in that top corner, but he's denied. And transition now here for the Seals. Left side shot, score! And a pile-on in the net after that ball crossed the line.
Have played with each other for over a decade. Stotts, Dixon, incredibly strong big players. Very familiar with himself. There you go, Berg with incredible goal.
So the Wings will have another one to kill off as the Seals work this around. Here is Berg to Dobie. Shot, score! For 2 on the evening, trying to get something going, and they'll score!
Holden Catoni.
Much needed goal there for Philadelphia, and Holden Catoni.
Stretched out. That could have been bad for Higgins.
They move it around, and it's Ben McIntosh putting it home on the power play. Here is Kyle Jackson on the right side. Rolls off a pick, plays one across for Dixon to the net, and he scores! It's a hat trick for Curtis Dixon. Great opportunity to break this game open. First shot was wide, second one is going to be in, and Leclerc, the quick stick goal from the left side. Path was cut off. Reza Terrence gets it back over for Clark. Back to Reza Terrence, rather. That's wow. Blaze Reardon coming in. And there's a big shorthanded goal for the Philadelphia Wings.
And
You know, seeing that clip, I just got just reminded myself. I think that's only the 4th time ever that these teams have played. I think 3 regular season meetings and 1 in the playoffs. And it just made me remember Philly could have had Austin Stotts if not for a coin flip not going their way.
right.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was back in Rochester.
Yeah,
in
when they did the first, it wasn't even that. It was when they did the expansion. So when the Wings when the Wings came, this is more for Pat because I'm not sure if he's up on the history, but when the Wings came in, the Seals came in expansion the same year, and basically they had a coin flip in the NLL finals at halftime or something like that. And basically, San Diego won the flip, and they had the choice of, hey, do you want to choose first in the entry draft? Do you want to choose first in the expansion draft? San Diego wins the flip. Patrick Mayo says, I want the first pick in the entry draft. So Philly got, as a consolation, the first pick in the expansion draft, where you pick from the other team.
Red Hickey.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah, he got hurt one game into the season. That was the end of him in Philadelphia.
San Diego went ahead and drafted Austin Stotts first overall. So,
well, it's paid dividends. It's very, very paid dividends.
For them, yes. So,
and after what I saw last night, I was like, I'm just sitting there too in the press box. I'm like, why is he on this team? I'm just saying, like a playmaker like that's like, where are you? Where are you? Where are the playmakers? And someone like Austin Stotts, like I'm just sitting there gushing, I'm like, I need something like this. I need something like this on this team right now. Because, and like I said, granted, Ben McIntosh had a great game, but the key word is consistency. Will he do this against Halifax? I don't know. Is Sam Leclerc going to put on the same magic he did? I don't know. But I do know I need Mitch Jones to, trying to find the back of the net a little bit more. I mean, great. Like I said, he's being a great facilitator, moving the ball around, doing all that stuff, giving up the good shot for a great shot. He's doing all those things, but I need him to start finding the back of the net. Start, lighting a lamp, showing these guys how to get it done. Joe Terrence, again, playing very, very well. Had a nice little mid-range game, but again, I need more consistency out of the offense. And I don't know if I'm going to get it. And the defense needs to clean up. This is what's holding the Wings back.
They're going to start soaking up some shots, Buffalo style. They really do.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's going to take, but and causing some turnovers and the loose ball battle. Geez, 80-58 they lost. I mean,
and there's some stuff they do on defense. It's fundamentals. Fundamental lacrosse. Again, loose balls. You guys are so focused wanting to play in the man-to-man defense. The loose ball's right there in front of you. And the first goal was given up by a loose ball redeflect. I was like, why aren't you guys focusing? Like, this is, again, details, fundamental. And they didn't bring that in this game. Again, and now you got to come on a short week with a team that just beat Rochester. So now they got a little chip on their shoulder, and now they want revenge, saying that you guys beat us by a nose hair, a fluke. And they're going to make sure that, again, they're going to come in there like Clubber Lane. And I don't want none of this business, okay? That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid. You want to hear Gary? You want to break me down? I'm afraid, Gary. I'm afraid what's about to happen here on Friday.
Loving the Philadelphia references. Got to get some more Rocky in there.
For the first time, I'm afraid, Mick. I'm afraid. Okay, I'm afraid.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Pat. That's terrific. We're glad you had some munchies up in the breast box for you.
Yes. And do me a favor. I love my man Paul Day, but please take him to an eye doctor. He's going to need one up there. Take him up there. You'll get checked out. That guy. Oh man, I want to. I was like, you know what? This is your room. This is your sandbox. I'll just ask you the simple question. And he said, I was like, oh man. I was like, at the moment, I'm like, yeah, Higgins, get something, like bring me in there. Something needs to give. Something he needs to give. Jesus. So, but listen, he's the coach. He's gonna want the IQ. I'm not, so I'll let him make the decisions around here. So, but anyways, guys, look, I'll see you guys Sunday at 9:00. So, guys, it's always been fun.
Thanks a lot, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
That was Pat Bernard with the Wings Nest. Always a pleasure having Pat on. Always entertaining, that's for sure. So, Mike, you wanted to get on to the New York Georgia game?
Yeah. Moving from a lot of shots to
Steve stays really hot. 4 goals, 2 assists. Outduels Lyle. 3 goals, 3 assists. Does Riptide win their second straight?
Yeah, and their second straight game, shooting at 33% or more efficiency. They had 14 goals on just 39 shots, which is crazy to think. Especially since we just talked about Higgins facing 61 shots in the San Diego game. Riptide again came out firing, and boy, Georgia. They remember when they were 4-1?
Yep.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
So, now they're back at 500. Again, Lyle had 3 goals and 3 assists, but not much help from anyone else. Zach Miller had 2 goals and an assist. Andrew Q had 2 and 3. Shane Jackson was held to just 1 assist on the game. Georgia isn't going to win many games.
No.
When Shane Jackson's having a night like that. Teat 4-2 for New York. Larson Sundown, big game, 3 goals, 3 assists. Connor Kiernan had 3 and 4. Riley O'Connor with 7 assists. And remember when New York was 1-4? Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
Now they're 1 game under 500.
We were wondering when they could get their first win.
Yeah.
They really look like they look like whatever it is they did 3 weeks ago.
They made one change. They brought in Stephen Keogh. Leadership.
And maybe that was catalyst enough. So.
Leadership and grit. And I'm sure he's not afraid to get in your face in the dressing room if you're floating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think it's having somebody with a veteran presence to smooth the edges, so to speak, one way or another, in order to get everybody on the same page. Whereas I'm sure they've listened a lot to Riley O'Connor. I'm sure they've listened a lot to Damon Edwards and maybe have tuned these guys out. Now you get somebody new in there, maybe a little bit more brash. All of a sudden, everybody's on the same page because the team looks like it when they're playing now. They're on that same page. And Teat's getting the help. By Teat getting the help, it's freeing him up to do what Teat does. Because there was a stat there in the first 4 games of the year, he had something like 4 goals and 18 assists or something. I think he had 17 goals in the last 3 or 4 games. So he needs to be rolling with these goals if this team's going to be successful. We all know that. So does everybody else in the league. But in order to free him up, the other guys have to be willing to do whatever it is. Now they are. And you see the results.
Yep.
So, but again, we have some clips of this game. And why don't we have a look at those?
Up the loose ball over to Tate, who scores, and it's an early 1-1 game.
but instead of setting guys up for it, he's playing them straight up, and then when it's there, taking advantage.
Teet's got another. That's back-to-back for the Riptides, Jeff Teet, and that ball is wheeling around beautifully. Against Philly and Buffalo, they have not won at home this year. Looking to change that tonight with Teet. He's got a hat trick as he goes low, beating Dobson. Favoring Georgia. They're staying calm, right? They're not getting too high or too low. There's one that goes in on a beautiful one-time to Matisse. How about that feed from the top of the zone? Late in the first, Bomberry, that was blocked in front. Jones on Jackson. There's an open cage. Dunkerley cannot stop that. It's Lyle Thompson who gets on the board at last. It's Lyle Thompson who has won so far. Swim move over Marinier. Thornburg trying to help out. There's the dunk, and it's good for Miller. He's got it, and he's got number 2 tonight. John Vandergeest in there. He's having this two-man game. It's Lyle Thompson at the top. Good spin dodge there, and that trickles to the back of the twine for Thompson. That's number 2 tonight, and it's tied up at 6.
Is way packed in, and then vice versa. The Riptide defense has really gotten out on shooters, but not enough on Jeff Teet as he fires home his 4th of the game. To get in the mix, and O'Connor says, let's get Jeff Teet back on the floor first.
Here's Kiernan with the shot from the outside. He's got it, a big fist pump for Kiernan that time over Wiedemann.
Dave, the most impressive 8 5-on-5 goals. They've scored no goals in transition.
Kiernan again, that's back-to-back, Mitch. He feathers right through the middle.
And it's certainly a new look in this second part of the season.
Exceptional tonight. It's Thompson from the outside. That's another one that trickles past Dunkerley that he likely would want to replicate.
27th. Happy birthday to number 58.
But a steady presence back there, Mitch, for the Riptide. Sundown with a seam and scores. That's in a hurry. Minute 30.
Q, and then Riptide knock it down again.
A chance
Noseworthy
here
out of the box.
Noseworthy scores! 4v4. Noseworthy's got it! On that rebound for the Riptide, and a breakaway here for New York. 2v1 with Wild. Gives it up, shot, and another goal. It's Kiernan with a hat trick. What a night for Connor Kiernan.
Goalie off, see if they can get with about 5 seconds left.
Brownell, there's the dunk, and it's in for the Riptide.
Literally every type of goal you can imagine was scored.
Yeah, and I'd also point out between this clip and the Colorado clip, those two teams, a lot of tic-tac-toe goals.
Absolutely.
It's working. So
yeah, the passing is incredible.
East-West.
Passing is incredible in these teams. All right, let's move on. We got the Rochester.
Put the ball between the.
We're jumping the gun on that. Vanessa scores 5 goals, moves into 5th all-time on the list as Thunderbirds protect the nest. What says it all, doesn't it? Before this year, well, barely the game started, and Jake Withers already did Jake Wither-esque things. He won the face-off, got it down, found Clark Peterson, and 7 seconds in, it was already 1-0. Ryan Benesh added a goal at 3 minutes off a Max Wilson feed. Matt Gilray got the Nighthawks on the board in transition off a Joe Post feed, but Colton Armstrong answered right back for the Thunderbirds off a Graham Hossack pass. Connor Fields blasted a Ryan Lansbury pass at 12:40, but Ryan Benesh's second of the night restored the 2-goal lead after 1 quarter. Halifax 4, Rochester 2. Halifax picked up right where they left off, with Benesh scoring his 3rd of the game off a Dawson Theed pass at 6:15, followed by Randy Stotts converting a Clark Peterson pass at 7:29. Ethan O'Connor scored in transition for Rochester off of Brad Gillies' feed at 9:26, but was answered by Randy Stotts, his 2nd of the night, off a Wake-Riat Bowhunter pass at 10:06. Ryan Smith kept the Nighthawks in the game, scoring in transition off a long lead pass from Riley Hutchcraft at 11:42. But Ryan Benesh's 4th of the night on the power play had the Thunderbirds, up by 4 at the half. Halifax 8, Rochester 4. In the 3rd quarter, Clark Peterson opened the second half scoring, converting a Cody Jameson pass, followed by Austin Shanks scoring on the power play off Clark Peterson pass. Ryan Smith scored his second of the night on the power play off a Matt Gilroy pass. But again, Halifax answered with Clark Peterson scoring on the power play off a Cody Jamieson feed with just 2 seconds left in the quarter. After 3 quarters was Halifax 11, Rochester 5. Nighthawks played a little bit more desperate and took over the play in the fourth quarter, scoring 3 times. Ben McDonnell scored off an Ethan O'Connor pass in transition, followed by Connor Fields scoring off a Kyle Waters pass. Fields added another when he blasted a Ryland Reese feed at 11:44. Ryan Benes scored his 5th of the game on the power play off a Randy Stotts pass at 12:16, followed by Austin Shanks converting a Dawson Thede pass into an empty net. 13-8 was your final. Shots on goal, the Thunderbirds took over with 55-49. Face-off battle was dominated by Halifax 16-9, and the loose ball battle went to Rochester 74-69. Rochester only went 1 for 5 on the power play, while the Thunderbirds went 4 for 6. And now we can take a look at some of those clips.
And they put the ball between the two, and it's showtime here in Halifax. And Jake Withers wins the opening draw, dishes it off. Clark Peterson scores! 7 seconds into this one. On the save side of things here in the first quarter. Here's Peterson coming in. Nice pass, fake, another fake shot, they score! A beauty by the Thunderbirds. At least here at home has been sort of the dunk play, but Rochester, they love to try it. Here's a chance shot. Oh, what a save! Ward Hill Cone, Crime Stoppers, that was robbery. 6 minutes of action here. Let's take another look. One save there, another one there. Perhaps your play of the week. Here's Withers, and he pops the ball out of a stick, but Fields gets it back. Little fake coming in. Fields shoots, he scores. A beauty by Connor Fields. And now it is 3-2 Halifax.
He's getting his opportunities, just not able to cash in.
Stott shoots, he scores! A dandy from Randy, and that's career goal number 200. To the top, pass down low, top of the crease. Randy Stott's looking for it. Here's Benes, shoots, he scores! Here's Clark Peterson. Peterson, Jamieson gets the little pick from Benes. Back here to Peterson. He's got room to go to the crease. Shoots, he scores! Are you serious, Clark? Another beauty from Peterson. It's 9-4 Halifax. Jamieson looking. Quick pass. Peterson takes it off the glass. Backhand pass. Down low. Shanks scores. Austin Shanks. Hutchcraft coming out, challenging, making the save. And McDonald coming up the other way. Shoots, scores! What a shot!
So far, I think there's been at least 2 or 3 more. Done a great job soaking up a lot of shots from the Thunderbirds.
Fields scores! Connor Fields picked up his own sort of rebound loose ball.
And that was that in a nutshell. And Halifax looks like they've righted their ship now as well. So things should be tightening up all over the place. All the teams that were flailing a little bit seem to have found their way up. And all the teams that were sailing have had a little bit of turbulent waters. So interesting stuff. Just before we move on, I want to just remind everybody that this part of the show is brought to you by Sherry's Ticket Town.
All right, guys, it's time to talk about Sherry's Tickets. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less and play more with Sherry'sTickets.com. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10. That's EOP10. Do not pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050. That's 610-494-5050. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, do not overpay and save with the best at sherrystickets.com. Save 10% using the promo code EOP10. That's EOP10. You'll thank us later. sherrystickets.com.
Absolutely. Now we come to the next one of my Sorrow games, my Toronto Rock. Actually, I got the Erlin game worn jersey out of this one, so good things were coming out of it no matter what. But the Bandits came to town, and whenever they show up, it doesn't matter how well the teams are doing. They always play each other hard. Usually a lot more fighting than what we had yesterday, which was none. A little disappointed. Fraser scores 4, including sensational behind the back goal. And yeah, it took everybody off guard. I think even himself. As the Bandits hand to Rock their first loss of the year. I'm telling you, this was a weird game because the first quarter, very quickly, Ian McKay went in shorthanded. And he went coast to coast, scored unassisted. And you figure that, the floodgates are coming. There wasn't another goal scored in the first quarter. It was a track meet. It was up and back as quickly as you could go all quarter long. A lot of outside shots, man. And I was from Toronto. A lot of outside shots, which drives me insane if you've listened to me ever.
Back at it again.
Oh, yeah. And constantly you'd be hearing me through that game screaming, get inside. Somebody got to want to take it, But anyways, the second quarter, it was more the Bandits than anything else, and some really strange goals. Bandits opened the second quarter scoring on a power play when Chase Fraser was able to convert a Josh Byrne pass, followed by Josh Byrne with an absolute rope off a Chris Kluche feed at 4:07. It was 3-0 at that point, and the First Ontario Center is getting a little quiet. In fact, you could hear it as though it was in Buffalo. Because we were learning how to spell box and we were counting. It was great, man. It's wonderful. That hooked on phonics thing is really going great over in the U.S. It's wonderful. Anyways, Toronto got on the board with Dan Craig. He found the top corner off a Nick Rose long lead pass, but the Bandits answered right back when Brandon Robinson scored with a floater shot, just a little floater over Nick Rose's shoulder. I guess it was that knuckleball kind of thing that just threw off Rose's timing, but Justin Martin, probably the fastest guy on the floor, scored for Toronto on a breakaway with a high shot to the short side off a Bill Haustrauser pass. But again, in transition, Buffalo answered. Steve Priolo converted a Kyle Buchanan pass. Buffalo increased the lead when Toka Nanticoke fired a low-to-low shot off a Chris Kluche pass, but the Rock answered with Dan Lindner firing a shot from in close finally, unassisted. It was actually off a rebound at 11:08. Bandits scored their next one off a strange play. The ball bounced up, and Nick Rose lost it, and luckily it didn't bounce into the net. It bounced behind the net. Kyle Buchanan was able to grab a rebound from behind the net and fed Steve Priolo in front, and Priolo didn't make any mistake with it. Buffalo added to their lead when Chase Fraser finished off a Chris Kluche pass, but Toronto answered with Dan Craig, scoring with just 1.4 seconds left in the quarter to give them a little momentum heading into the half. At the half, it was 8-4 for Buffalo. When I was talking with a few other people at the half, the one thing that kept coming up was if Toronto doesn't get off to a quick start, this game's done. And Buffalo gets out to their usual start in the second half, before you know it, it's 10-4, right? But, the Rock got off to an immediate start. Phil Mazzocca scored just 8 seconds into the quarter, followed by Mark Matthews, the birthday boy, with a blast from the side of the net off a Challen Rogers feed at 1:16. Chris Boucher added to the lead on a power play with a quick stick off a Mark Matthews pass at 3:15, and all of a sudden it was 8-7. And there was a lot of life in that building again. Dane Smith gave the Bandits a little bit of breathing room when he fired a laser to the short side off a Toka Nanticoke pass at 7:56. But Dan Lindner answered for the Rock, diving across the crease off a Chris Weir pass, and then tied the game on a dive from behind the net from Chris Boucher off a Tom Schreiber pass. The Rock took their first lead of the night when Corey Small fired a howitzer from the outside off a Chris Boucher pass at 13:54. Now, with 30 seconds left in the quarter, Toronto did a couple of stupid things. They got themselves into penalty trouble. And the initial one was a Bill Hostrauser 2-minute penalty for holding. But on the delayed penalty, Phil Bazooka cross-checked Chase Fraser, and Fraser stayed down. And they gave Bazooka a 5-minute illegal cross-check penalty for that. So for the next 5 minutes, Toronto was fending off the Buffalo Bandits. Now, to their credit, they obviously they covered off the last 30 seconds there. They killed off the first penalty, and they killed off all but 17 seconds of the 5-minute penalty. But Kyle Buchanan finished off a Chris Cloutier pass, followed by Chase Fraser with a behind-the-back shot that is just on the highlight reels if you look at SportsCenter, with a swim move and then a behind the back immediately. Fooled everybody. At 5:15. What wound up happening was that the Toronto defense was gassed. After killing off a 5-minute power play, half of that being just 3 men on the floor, that after that first one went in, Buffalo scored 3 goals immediately, went full strength. And that changed the whole complexion of everything. Now, at one point, they put Troy Holochuk in net for Toronto, but they had already pulled Nick Rose, and there was an empty net goal scored. At this point, it was 15-10. Now, with 5 minutes left in a game, and you're down by 4, I still can't get through my head why you're pulling your goalie. Your offense is good enough to score 5-on-5. Buffalo is a quick team, and with the long run from the bench, you're on the long side in the last quarter. You're not going to catch them. And Dane Smith ran for one. Ian McKay ran for one. And there was no way Troy Holochuk was going to make it in time. And sure enough, 2 empty net goals. Now, why does this matter? At this point, it's 16-10. There's about 4 minutes left in the game. It's over, right? Well, no. Toronto puts together a 4-goal run that takes them all the way down to about 17 seconds left in the game. And it's 16-14. So, again, I understand when there's a goal or two difference and there's a minute or two left in the game, why you're pulling the goalie. But if you're down by 4 and your thought is, well, if we lose by 4, we lose by 6, what's the difference? You've given up. And if you're telling me you're trying, you have an offense that's good enough that doesn't need to have 6-on-5 to do this, as long as they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, which means get inside. Stop taking these ridiculous shots from Mississauga, which I watched all night long. It drove me insane. Every time they went inside, they scored. Then what do? Spend 10 minutes shooting from outside at the Bandits logo. And, of course, Matt Vince comes up with easy saves, and away they go the other way. Time and time and time again. So by pulling the goalie, it just, to me, it didn't make any sense.
And you take away those 2 goals, and where are you?
Well, let's say you get those 2 goals back, and, and also those times, right? You get that couple of minutes back, too.
Yep.
Now, at one point, after Toronto's second goal of this run of 4, Tavares made a coach's challenge. It was nowhere to be close to being overturned. What did he do? He tried to break the momentum, right, by making a coach's challenge and just having him look just to stop everything for a minute. And Toronto still scored 2 more. So what does that tell you? They turn it on. And now, to me, here's the other take on it. The positive spin for Toronto is they really only played about 20 minutes worth of offense in this game. And they still almost beat the Bandits, and they came within an eyelash of doing it. If this team plays a full 60 minutes, there's not many teams in this league that's going to beat them. But when are they going to play that full 60 minutes? I haven't seen it yet this year, that they play this full 60 minutes. Anyways, before I get more on a soapbox, let me give you some of the clips and show you some of the goals.
Greg was hoping to pick that short side, but Ian McKay rushes the floor, shoots, scores! Short-handed transition goal from McKay, who Dane Smith in tight. Burns shoots, scores! Just enough room for Josh Bird. Craig, some room, drives, scores! That one, big play, starts it the other way. Justin Martin on the rock, runs the floor, shoots, scores! Right back from the rock. Veteran Buchanan steps into one, stopped by Rose. There's the second chance, and it's buried. Bandits staying with it. Bandits going to keep going in the meantime. Kluche, backhander, Nanako in, bouncer scores!
What a turn of events.
Byrne on the move. Kluche. This is over, Fraser scores! Matthews with the ball. Over to Schreiber. Clock winding down. Schreiber in tight. Craig scores! Bar down! Late magic! Fakes the pass over to Rogers. Slade now finds Callan Rogers. Swings it over. Matthews pass. Scores! Mark Matthews runs to the outside. Anacope up top with that gap opening. Smith plant, shoots, scores! Littner, nice move, drives, crashes, scores!
You're going to have a 1-1 half, and all of a sudden the goals start going in.
Schreiber to the side. Oh, what a dunk! Oh, that is filthy. That's against the Bandits. See if Toronto can open up a lead. They do! Ball sneaks it through mitts, and there's a momentum swing. Byrne gets back to it. 12 seconds on the shot clock for Buffalo. Kluche over the top. On off Rose. Buchanan buries. Rose. Razor putting the head down. Little swim behind the back. Did he do it? He did. How can that be real from Chase Fraser? Brandon Robinson let it go. Over to Byrne. Smith. Robinson scores. There's the run for the Bandits. Over to Weiss. Back to Fraser. In tight. Nanako. Twister. Scores. Buffalo starting to pull away. It's 5.5. Left in the fourth. Fraser with the hat trick, shoots, scores! He snuck it through. Rose can't believe it. 4 on the night for Fraser. And Littner behind the cage. Schreiber on the move.
Oh my!
Bushi scores.
Are these
back
two?
To back.
Are these two going to find some chemistry?
Oh my! Scores again. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
was I kidding? All these inside goals. Yet I watched most of the game. Shots from outside. Just doesn't make any sense. And also, when they're going inside, it opens up for the outside shots that they start falling. So, yeah, let's listen to. First of all, Matt Sawyer, and then Tom Schreiber.
Yeah, just it certainly didn't go our way. We had some good fight there and sticking with it in the way we came out in the second half. But we again, second game in a row where we start slow up front, and then we have all the momentum there. I think we had scored 5-1 on a stretch to get it to 9-9, and then. 2 costly penalties there. We only gave one up, but we a lot of energy from our defenders and goaltending kind of through those 5 minutes, and then took our momentum away up front.
Just speak about the battle back. You guys could have folded up shop and just say this game's over, but you kept trucking along and kind of made a game of it there at the end.
Yeah, like I said, we certainly didn't quit, but it's. We need to figure that out. We can't put ourselves in those positions, similar to last week, right? So we'll be better. We'll be better for it, and on to Calgary.
Can you touch on the slow starts? What do you do as a coach now to try and nip that in the bud going into the?
Yeah, we just have to, I thought we created, we had 16 shots in the first half. We got to get to, to better areas, in the first quarter. We need to get to the middle of the floor and just try to create a higher quality of scoring chances. No team wants to start slow, and, we'll plan to be better in Calgary.
You got Tom Schreiber back tonight. How was it like having him back in the lineup?
Yeah, it was a shot in the arm. It's been a long time since he played a NLL game, so I'm sure he's only going to get better as he moves on. But it was good to see him able to go out there and play like he did, and I think you saw how he's going to help our offense.
Yeah, it feels good. It's tough being out. It's tough to kind of trust the process there. So to be able to play, to get back out there in front of this crowd, it's special. It's an honor to play for this team and this organization. So getting back out was incredible. It felt it was a long time coming for me, and it's a disappointing result, but in the long run, I'm grateful to be back.
It just seems kind of sense from just the slow starts and not being ready to play at the beginning there.
Yeah, we have to address that. The beauty of it is we're 6 games in of an 18-game stretch. So, but that's been consistent and something that we need to address as a group overall. So it hurt us. I think we still had plenty of chances beyond that, but I think that's a theme that we need to improve upon.
Speaking about the result, you guys could have threw your hands up and say this game's over, but you battled back and ultimately made a game of it.
Yeah, there's no questioning, the resilience of this group. We're made of the right stuff from bottom to top, from our goaltending, our defense, our offense, and our staff. Frankly, we have a very, very strong culture, and there's certainly no quit. Tonight that wasn't enough, and we needed to execute at a higher level. But I don't think anybody in our room is questioning, ever giving up or anything like that.
You obviously rallied in the third quarter, take a 10-9 lead, but how much do you think those 2 penalties at the end of the quarter kind of just killed the momentum?
Yeah, I think we did it, I don't know the exact time, but I think we probably killed, 4 minutes and 45 seconds of a 5-minute penalty, 5-on-3 for a little bit. Nick Rose was excellent. Our 3-man group, playing man down, did an awesome job, and yeah, it hurt. I think we were building something offensively, but again, I think you got to look at our start too. We didn't do a good enough job in that stretch and gain some momentum, but that's the game. You have to find ways to find those momentum swings, and there was just a lull there that was the difference in the game after that, really, where they pulled away, and we fought back, but it just wasn't enough tonight.
First time with the offense, with some of the changes they made, Bushi, Matthews coming in. How did it feel like with that offensive group?
Yeah, I've been really excited to play with those guys. I've played with Dan Lintner a couple of years ago. Was excited to play with him yet again, and I loved playing with Chris Bushi and Mark Matthews in training camp and preseason, and to get out there with those guys for real, it gives us a different look. I think it allows us to do some more things. I think there's probably going to be a little learning curve with me out there tonight. I felt I wish I had done some things differently, but for a first outing, I'm thrilled to play with those guys. They're great players, and they do a lot. For me, I want to return that favor and hopefully help them and have really balanced offense is what we strive to be, and it's part of the journey. I think we'll only improve, but those guys are awesome, and I think we're just getting started.
And add Chris Corbeil and add TD Erlin and add a few other guys, Josh Jubinville, to the lineup, and then you're going to get the A squad again. Just before we move on to our last game, just a reminder, this part of the show is brought to you by Philly Sports Trips.
All right, guys, if you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. Go to phillysportstrips.com. They have self-travel packages and full travel packages available with round-trip flights from the Philadelphia airport. Packages include direct flights, 4-night stays, all-inclusive tailgate parties, lower-level group tickets, Whatever you want, you got it with PhillySportsTrips.com. If you want to travel to an upcoming Phillies game, make sure you check out Philly Sports Trips. And do not forget, Philly Sports Trips has all the away trips for the Eagles' upcoming 2023 season. Jump on it now, because you do not want to lose out on all these great opportunities. Go to PhillySportsTrips.com.
Absolutely. So our last game of the weekend was a pitcher's duel, Shawn?
Yeah. I think as you put it, Gary, is
It's Rush, man. It's Rush.
Yeah.
21-12. For all the rock fans out there. Crawford's monster record-setting nights and Malcolm lead Panther City to a blowout win. There's an understatement and a half.
Yeah.
I believe Crawford had 3 points before the anthems were over.
Yeah, 12 points by the first half. That's a National Lacrosse League record. 8 goals, which I believe is a personal best for him. And I know Panther City doesn't have much of a history, but 21 goals, I believe, is a franchise record as well. But yeah, with just over 8 minutes in the game, it was already 8-0. Or in the 8 minutes left in the first quarter, sorry, it was 8-0. Dylan Watson finally got Las Vegas on the board at about 7:05 on the clock. Then again, Matthew Gauthier, Will Malcolm, Phil Caputo. It's 8-1 after 1. Crawford again, Malcolm again. It's 10-1, and we're not even. It's 2:18 into the second quarter. It's 10-1, and I mean I could keep going here, but it was just. Yeah,
it was a beatdown.
It wasn't. It was a beatdown. It was.
They made sure Las Vegas couldn't come back like they did.
Yeah,
last
exactly. And like we mentioned, with even quietly between Callum Crawford, as we mentioned before, Will Malcolm had 4 goals and 10 assists for 14 points, just between those two alone. Des Dogs did make a bit of a goaltending change, and Joel Watson, sorry, didn't even lasted 3 minutes and 41 seconds, and that was it for him.
They then took a guy from the parking lot to go in and try his luck.
Yeah, it's similar to like Vancouver. Like what you see from Vegas almost is no defense, no offense, no goaltending, and they're getting blown out. They've had really 2 blowout games, and it's been losses to Saskatchewan and Panther City. So it's not like these are top echelon teams that are blowing them out.
Yeah, when Dylan Watson is your top scorer, you really got to take a look at what's going on in your lineup.
Yeah.
Casey Jackson, supposed to be the big gun. He had 2 goals, 2 assists. Rob Hellier, he's more of a setup guy nowadays, and he did his job, right? Goal and 8 assists. But where is everybody else? Jack Hanna, 3 assists. He needs to be scoring. Yep. These are the guys that need to get these things. Reed Reinhold, 1 assist. Yep.
Yeah,
he needs to be scoring.
Charlie Bertrand, where's he been all year?
Absolutely. 2 goals. Yeah. He's almost invisible. Jacob Rouet, no goals, no assists, no nothing. Like, these
even
are the guys.
Jack Hanna. I was going to say, even Jack Hanna, I know he's still kind of a couple of years in, but only 3 assists.
Well, these are the guys you rely on after specifically, and they're doing nothing for him. This is past embarrassing. This will explain why on my feeds I didn't see anything from the Las Vegas fans.
Yeah,
they're probably still sitting there with their jaw on the ground, going, "What
happened?"
Yeah.
And listen, love Sean Williams, but what's going on? Like, he's a smart guy. He knows his lacrosse, but something's not right over there.
Yeah, something needs to change, and the culture needs to change there too. So, because year 2, and it looks a lot like year 1, and
maybe even less.
Year 1. Yeah, year 1 they were impressing me at the end of the year, whereas so far they've had, I think, 1 good game.
Yeah,
I think it was against Vancouver. So that's not working. So we got a couple of teams that
on the bright side, you could say, hey, look at the change we've just seen with New York and with Colorado. Yeah. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. So
yeah, I mean, if you can get on the run, but
true. And there's also, you've been waiting for this from Panther City.
Yeah.
for this kind of breakout game where everything is working and everybody's working in tandem with one another. And when I put on the clips here, you'll see exactly what I mean, how everybody is working in cohesion with one another. Let's have a look.
Kind of game plan your strategy for your opponent. It's not going to work the same for every team.
I'm sorry to cut you off there, Jake, but what a pass and finish. It was Caputo on the goal, and you talk about showtime. Callum Crawford, he's been playing bully ball in the early going, and he's going to do it right here. Backing in, shooting, and scoring. Callum Crawford, have yourself a night. The speedster Will Malcolm, who was the leader in points, let's not forget, and goals last year, and he scores for Panther City. Don't forget about Will Malcolm. He's only 24 years old, but you miss out on it, and a tired defense has to go back to work again. That's been the tough balancing act so far, and that's around the back and in for Caputo.
That is special. Clip it right there, AJ, from Phil Caputo.
Group in the early going, 11 goals already in. Crawford, they're sending more help toward Crawford, but then he responds that way, setting up Caputo. So Crawford, give him another point. He is now in double figures. Watching the sin bin. It's a 5-on-3 on offense. We've talked about this before. They play it like a 4-on-3. They don't need the fifth. And a power play goal, the fifth of the night for Panther City. Doing the honors is Phil Caputo, who is up to 4 goals. Off of a bye week. Tracy Kostiuk also addressing the recent bye weeks early in the season, saying it's been tough to find a rhythm. And hey, there are more points being scored just like that. That's point number 13 on the assist for Callum Crawford. 3 situations, some delayed penalty stuff. 3 for 5 so far on the man advantage, and Crawford's got it. The assist from Malcolm, goal from Crawford. This is not a tape recording. That is a new audio track, right? A little bit, and then that kind of let up again. And so he picked up a second win. Rebound goal, Bertrand. His first goal of the season.
And now the 6-on-5.
And they work an open look for Watson.
They're off. It's not good, but when they're on, they can hang with anybody.
Well, that's just it. The inconsistency is what Shawn will.
And I think Jake just hit it there. When they're on, they can hang with anybody. Eduardo made a good comment too. Very impressed with them against San Diego when they beat them.
Yeah.
But Panther City must have been very, very comfortable there in Vegas because it looked like they had the same crowd as in Panther City. Not a lot of people around there, eh? Losing does that. That chases people away.
Yeah, I was gonna say losing does that though. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, a few issues there that need to be looked at quickly because, again, the season, while it only being a third of the way, just a couple of weeks from now, we'll be talking about we're at the halfway point, and something has to be done. Either they or
yeah, and if I heard correctly, that Bertrand goal was his first of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is.
How many games are they in?
That's concerning.
Exactly. Well, just before we wrap up, guys, I just want to remind everybody, Sumi Dog, that we are as part of David R. Cherry.
All right, guys, let's talk about Cherry Law Firm. If you get hurt at work in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you got to call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Firm. Call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your rights. Again, that number is 610-565-0300. That's 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your right.
Absolutely. Let's just have a quick little look at upcoming games this week in the NLL. We got a number of them. Friday night, we actually have 3 of them. Halifax is in Philadelphia. Vancouver is in Georgia. New York is in Calgary. Interesting games. Philadelphia needs to come out with a win here, and Halifax definitely, now they found the right way, doesn't want to give up their momentum. So that's going to be a tough game, I think.
Yep. And then that Vancouver-Georgia game, that's actually second of a 2-game series, and Vancouver's up 1-0.
Well, not the team that played yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm going to say like Georgia's hurting right now. A couple of losses, they
Georgia's
they're
kind of
going right
pissed
to
off right
ship.
now.
They're gonna be wounded dog coming in. Yeah,
This could get ugly fast if they don't have their defense covering Lyle and Shane and Q and Brian Cole, and it can go on and on.
yeah.
If these guys get on the same page, and if Dobson's not going to have 3 bad games in a row, so look out for that. I believe Eduardo's in with it. Yep, here we go. Halifax, Vancouver, and Calgary. You are a diehard, Eduardo. You are a diehard.
Pro tip, Eduardo: wait a few days for injury reports and transactions to come out.
Yeah,
something's going to happen there. I feel it. New York and Calgary. I don't think that's a given anymore. The way New York's playing either is
yeah. No,
Pete versus
absolutely.
Del Bianco. That'd be a good one.
And
As a Rock
Calgary's
fan-
been up and down. They've had bye weeks, so
You see, as a Rock fan, the Rock are in to play them on Saturday. So I hope it's a slam bammer, slobber knocker, Royal Rumble.
Take each other out, yeah.
That, 3 of them are on
next night
suspension.
beat 'em
Nah. Well, we'll see what happens. But anyways, on the Saturday night, we got Vegas. Oh, it doesn't get easier for them, does it?
Oh.
Vegas against Albany in Albany. Rochester goes into Buffalo against the resurgent Buffalo Bandits. Panther City makes a trip over to the newly coached Saskatchewan Rush.
Yep.
Be a big game, Sean.
Yeah, that could be an interesting one.
The Rock wind up in Calgary on the second half of Calgary's home and home idea, where they don't have to go anywhere. And lastly, we have Colorado into San Diego. Now, the Colorado team that I saw on Friday against the San Diego team that I saw yesterday, that's not a sure thing in my eyes.
Yeah, I wouldn't count that. I wouldn't count Colorado one bit. No,
not at all. If they're healthy, I think they give San Diego a big run for their money, and I give them a slight edge in the goaltending, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, that one by no means is a gimme, though some might think so. Anyway.
Just a few, huh?
Just a few.
Yes.
I just want to remind everybody that we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, we are on Thread, and we are on YouTube. If you get onto our YouTube page, like I was mentioning at the beginning of the show, you'll notice there are now 6 more retro games up there. More going in this week. So in a couple of weeks' time, we'll have a few more retro games from the Mill era and from the early NLL era to come in. There's roughly, I think, 60 more tapes here to convert. So there's a number of them there. It'll be a wide library of all kinds of teams and all kinds of games. One of the games that was on there was the 93 Bandits against the Pittsburgh Bulls. So there's a team you haven't heard from in a long, long time. So, there's also the Boston Blazers in their green jerseys. There was also the New York Saints against the Philadelphia Wings in the Spectrum. There was three games on one link that were in 3 different storied arenas: the Boston Garden, Pittsburgh Civic Arena, and the Spectrum. Pretty amazing when you look at these places. There's one game which was from the Memorial Lot in Buffalo. There's another one there was from Old Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. So there's a number of these games, and they're all there at your disposal. There's a number of interviews in there, a number of press conferences that are just up again, as well as other interviews, fights, and other things that are in there. There's a lot of things there. Please go there. Please subscribe. Tell your friends, and let them go and subscribe as well. Help them if they can. And please check with us 3, 4, 5 times a day on our Facebook page, because the information is always changing, and we are up to date with everything because we have our finger on the pulse of the situation. We watch all the things that are going on. So, any last words there, Sean?
No, I was looking forward to next week. Should be some good games.
Oh, wait, we have some quick breaking Eduardo picks.
Oh.
How many Buffalo, Panther City, Rock, and Colorado? I like you thinking with Colorado there, Eduardo.
Yeah, I like it too.
He's trying to go to Atlanta. My world traveler out there. Just trying to get to a colder climate, are you? To see Vancouver, Georgia. Yeah, well.
Yep.
Mike, any last words?
I think some teams, I think you got to wait 1 or 2 more weeks for hitting the panic button for some of these teams.
Yeah. Let's see what let's see how Vancouver reacts with that press conference from Loss, because it's played like a top 40 hit around there now.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, we've already seen differences over a couple of weeks with Colorado and with New York.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back into the picture. Halifax falling the last few weeks,
and then coming back now.
Yeah.
Rochester coming on a few hard games. Buffalo with a little bump, and they look pretty good. I tell you, they didn't look great though. And I told you, I give 4 of those goals to that power play. By them killing it off the rock, they were gassed. So, taking advantage of the situation is great, but I wouldn't give them as, they're back. They're still not that same team that won the championship last year. So,
and I mean, if the bottom teams keep edging out wins, I really think we're not going to start seeing teams being eliminated mathematically from playoff contention until probably week 16 or 17 out of 21.
Oh yeah. Just string together a few wins and you're right back in the mix. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? And nobody's too far away right now. Rock and Albany are a little bit ahead of everybody, but everybody else is pretty bunched. So, it's a big log jam in that middle. So anybody can get anywhere. One team hits a slump and, 2 other teams are jumping over. So that's the buyer beware in this setup.
Yeah.
Anyways, for me, I want to thank everybody week in and week out for being with us and for following all the articles and all the other things that we have up on our pages, as well as checking us out week in, week out in our live show here. Remember, we're here every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your viewership. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, keep your stick in your hands, and we'll see you then. Take care.